Welcome back to Fut-Afrique, Africa's best football show. Now, this is the part of the show, of course, we give you the answer to the trivia question and we honor the women in African football. Who better to discuss this with than the queen of African football herself, Her Excellency Auntie Diski, a.k.a. Jessica Oluwaseyi Nkomo.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I gave you a Nigerian name.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you would have maybe said a Chidima.
Yeah,
Chidima. I'll take it.
Yes. Anyway, let's get into the answer of that trivia question first, because the viewers at home desperately want to know which player holds the record for the most appearances at the African Cup of Nations finals.
So we've got two players, actually. We've got Rigobert Song and we've got Andre Ayew with 36 appearances each.
Rigobert Song, that is a friend of mine, Christophe Bongo's best friend. Anyway,
a friend of mine.
It's a story for another day. But moving right along, we have a breaking story, and that's with Janine Van Wyk. What's happening with her?
So Janine Van Wyk has been appointed as the head coach for the JVW side. JVW is a side that contests in the South African Senior Women's National League, which is the Hollywood Bates Senior League. She's now been appointed as the head coach. So we saw last season she was the assistant coach, and she's also been a player for this club. She is the founder of the club. So I saw when the news broke out on social media, a lot of people were actually saying, Jomo Sono has multiplied, because we know Jomo Sono has been a person who was a player and he was the manager of the team and he was the coach of the team. So basically Janine has won all those caps. But I think this is a great move for her, seeing, with her retirement from football, she currently holds the record, for the most capped player in Africa. Not women's, not men's, the most capped player in Africa. And I think she's done her job within the football spaces for her to now take on this full job and appointment to be the head coach. And I definitely am looking forward to, her leadership amongst her peers, because these are people that she's also played with before.
So beautiful. Now let's move from one queen to other queens on the continent, the JKT Queens.
Yep.
And they've won the Under-17 gift tournament we were telling you about just 2 weeks ago. Am I correct? Tell us what happened in that tournament.
Yeah, so you're very much correct. This was the pilots that we spoke about, just to see, and also just to give exposure and highlight to the development of football in Africa. And it was a good opportunity for Tanzania, because you would anticipate that such a tournament would take place in Nigeria or in South Africa or Zambia, one of those prominent footballing nations. So I love the fact that they went in the East. JKT teams, we spoke about them. They are a strong side in that region, and it was a success. Yes. And for me, that speaks volumes, because we need these tournaments to be a success in order for CAF to be like, okay, you know what, we are willing to now transition or branch out to other regions. And I think maybe the main focus should definitely be those regions that we don't really see on a regular within the, the big tournaments. I think just to give them that opportunity or that platform, to be equivalent, and parallel to your nations like Nigeria, Zambia, Kenya, and so forth.
Jessica, I was tipping the TDS girls to actually beat the JKT Queens.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. It was 2-1. That was the final score.
Yeah.
Any players that stood out to you in particular?
I don't want to be biased, Ade. I don't want to be biased. For me, I think all the girls stood out for me. And I know
so Mary Siani?
I know why you're asking.
Who was the player of the tournament?
Yes, and I mean, not coming from a team that won speaks a lot of volumes. The reason I'm saying all the girls for me stood out for me is because that team has not participated in any big tournaments. For most of us, it was the first time seeing them competing like that. And giving a run for their money for a team like JKT actually speaks a lot. And I'm hoping that they've cemented themselves.
We have to mention Winfrida Giroud.
Yes, who won the Golden Boot Award. Definitely
scored 8 times in the tournament.
And a player who's 16 years old, scoring such goals on such a big tournament. I'm just hoping to see the consistency, because we've seen these stories. You'll see a player, and then a couple of years goes, we don't see them anymore. I'm just hoping that these tournaments, bring excitement to these young girls, that when we are seeing her here collecting the golden boots, we are going to see her again competing in COSAFA, or not COSAFA, any other regional, tournaments, and then maybe signing a big deal internationally. But I think we want that consistency when it comes to these young girls. But I'm super proud for all of them.
What a groundbreaking initiative by CAF, moving from the shores of Dar es Salaam to the rest of the continent where the Under-17 World Cup qualifiers is taking place. And Jessica, now, when you lose a game 21-2, I'm not sure that you should still be playing football. We saw that South Africa won their game 21-2. What happened in that game?
Listen, I don't think we should write them off, because yes, it's not a dignifying scoreline.
You don't say.
But I think, man, it's a young group. Most of them have never, had that kind of pressure. And mind you, you're playing against a country that does have some sort of, development structures, from your GDL to your regional to your SASO leagues, and most of these countries don't actually have such a platform or space. So yes, I know you're gonna keep making that face because the score was very, but looking at the match.
I thought they decided to play cricket at some stage.
Let's look at it like this. The second leg for Gabon wasn't as bad as the first leg was. We saw that, they didn't come for the second half. That's how bad it was. And looking at the score for the first half, we didn't have the same, anticipation. But I think Coach Ntomfuti and Roda Mulawuzi definitely did their research in order for them to maintain, that high score line. But I think they fought. And I want to give a big shout out to the goalkeeper for Gabon. She literally carried that team on her back. If it wasn't for that goalkeeper, and I want you to go and watch that match. If it wasn't for that goalkeeper, the score would have been 22, probably 1 for that second leg.
Oh, well. Now, that, man, I don't even know what to make out of that scoreline. It was something shocking. But quickly, can you tell us what to look forward to in the next rounds?
Yeah. And
Nigeria, South Africa might end up playing with each other.
They are
what
going
else
to be
can
playing
we look
against
forward
each
to?
other in March, and it's going to be a very tough clash. I think, again, Coach Ntomfuti and Roda Mulawuzi definitely do have a lot of work to do, because that has always been South Africa's big opponent and strong challenge, either on the senior side, on the men's and the women's side. So I definitely think that's going to be one match that a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm also super excited to see Uganda and Kenya. We know that Kenya is part of the teams that got buys. So we see what they're going to bring on the drawing board. I'm happy for Uganda. Actually, I'm happy for the East to see all the teams in the East actually coming up. Yeah, for me, I think those two matches, Botswana and Algeria is another one.
Another one to look forward to. I guess on next week's episode, we're going to be talking more about these mouth-watering fixtures to look forward to. And that was it from Jessica Chidima. Yes.
Oh, it's changed.
We'll
keep
use Chidima for next week. But definitely, the women's game is growing, and I'm very much excited to keep reporting about these initiatives and so much more. Don't you just love the African football stories told on the continent? Whoever wins the Under-17 Women's World Cup, the ultimate winners for me will forever be the African women's football played on the continent. Win or lose, African football stories will always echo on our long history of resilience and winning in the face of adversity. And as our African football kings and queens continue their quest to glory, make you know, say, we dey behind you, can't be, no wahala. Till next time, Ninitanda Nonke Gakulu.